Hello, my name is Mitchell Tosi, and today I am presenting my strategic management Tableau assignment, where I reflect upon the data across 3 rounds of our capstone competition. Um, Lots of insights here from this competition, and I was able to analyze it all via Tableau and get some useful insights out of the data. So, first exhibit I would like to stop and analyze is the bar graph comparison. Now here I was able to measure up all the teams and show a comparison between all the various teams on the bar graph. As you can see, Garrett, Erie, Digby, and Ferris were all able to score above average. Now I've kept this average bar here just as kind of like a point of reference to show where the average marker is. Now, while these 4 teams have scored above average, there was 4 teams that scored below average according to an average of all the different various scores. So Andrews, Chesters, Harper, and Baldwin all scored below average, as you can tell by this line, and this can be found by the interaction I had with the dashboard using this average line of 2.7850. So here with the dashboard, as you can see, being able to interact, as you can see if you click here using the dashboard, it'll focus in on Garrett and show all the statistics there. So my first takeaway is that 4 of the teams were above average, 4 of the teams were below average. Now to do a line graph comparison to show the amount of time over the 3 rounds, how the teams stacked up against one another. The big takeaway here is that many of the teams, as you can see, stuck around the average point. However, when you interact with the dashboard, Team Andrews actually was the one to make the greatest leap as far as score goes, as in round 2, the measure was 5.3 when it jumped up to 1.23, jumping by over 100%. So this was a very interesting takeaway here to see which teams bounced back over the 2 rounds, which teams kind of stayed a bit average, and which stayed above average around the whole time. So this is a trend you'll see with Team Garrett as we go throughout the dashboard. Next, I'd like to point out the scatter plot comparison. Now, there were a few outliers, Andrew being on the bottom end of the outlier. As you can tell by the average line of 2.7, Andrews was almost 0.3 below the average line, which is very significant here. Now, once again, Team Garrett is at the top using the scatter plot. This scatter plot really helps understand kind of the spread of the data, kind of see where teams stacked up with one another here. So, interesting takeaway, the majority of the teams were below the average or right around the average, while there was 2 outliers well above, those teams being Team Erie and Team Garrett. Now, using the entire dashboard, I decided to add a few filters and make it interactive. So if you decide to focus in on one area of the data, my 4th takeaway will be that if you click on Garrett and all 3 of the types of graphs, line graph, bar graph, and scatter plot, scored well above the average with a score of 3.22, with the average being 2.78. So well above average. Garrett seemed to be well above the competition, along with Erie trailing right behind with 3.14. The interesting takeaway with Erie is that they did not start off initially as strong as Garrett did. However, they were able to come back in the next 2 rounds as well. Erie was also at the end of the scatter plot, kind of being an outlier there. Now Andrews, in all the data sets, despite making a stronger comeback here, using the interactive dashboard, you can see that Andrews ended up scoring lower on the bar graph. So lots of interesting takeaways from this capstone project. It was a very intriguing project, and being able to use these takeaways using an interactive Tableau dashboard was very useful. These are some skills that I'll definitely take and carry on with myself into my professional career using data analytics. So my name is Mitchell Tosi, and that is my Tableau project. Thank you very much.